Okay.
Well, the story of my life really begins before I was born. My father was the youngest of a family of 4 children. He had two brothers and a sister. He was the youngest. They were from far living and they were poor. I've seen the house in which the original house in which he was born, and it's a very, very poor shack really. And there was only 2 rooms in it, a bedroom and a kitchen, which served also as a sleeping place at that time for the boys. Then, since he was the youngest, they decided to send him to college. My father felt he had a vocation to the priesthood. So he was sent to St. Malachy's College in Belfast. It was a seminary for the Diocese of Donegal. He was there for some years, 2 or 3 years. He studied philosophy. He had the volumes of philosophy by Cardinal Zigliara, who was a Dominican. So he studied philosophy in Latin, and his study of logic certainly stood him in good stead later in life. Now, while he was at the seminary, he got what was diagnosed as tuberculosis of the left knee. They couldn't operate in Belfast. Belfast was not the great modern city that it is today. And he was sent to Dublin, the capital, to the Mater Hospital, to have his knee operated on. The surgeon botched the operation, and he was left with a stiff leg. His left leg was stiff. And that was regarded as an impediment to ordination, because he would not be able to genuflect. Nowadays, it certainly would not be regarded as an impediment. So he left St. Malachy's Seminary, returned home to the farm, and an interesting thing developed. He became very, very stout. He was a tall man, 6 feet, 6'1" perhaps. But as a young man, after he left the seminary, he became very, very grossly overweight. He could hardly walk. He told me that his weight was 26 stone, or 14 pounds and a stone. So this was very, very heavy. The doctor came. The doctor failed to diagnose the cause or what treatment to give. So his father, my grandfather, whom I never saw, he sent for the veterinary surgeon, and on the principle that if he's able to look after animals, he should be able to look after humans, because we humans, we are animals also, although we are rational animals. So he called the vet in to see whether he could diagnose what was wrong or prescribe a remedy. Now the vet, I don't know whether he knew what was wrong or not, but he prescribed a remedy, a very strange remedy. he told him to take a glass of whiskey, a small glass of whiskey, 3 times a day, after breakfast, after dinner, we have dinner at midday, and after supper before going to bed. Now, in those days, it was before the time of George V. George V put very heavy taxation on alcohol in order to prevent the Irish from drinking, over drinking. That was his reason. But of course it failed. So alcohol at that time would cost very little. It cost about ½ a crown, I would say, for a quart bottle. Quart was 2 pints. 2 pints of whiskey, pure whiskey. And the ½ crown would be, let us say, the 1/8 of a dollar. So he went down to the bar, public house in the square. It was owned by people called Greenan, though they were no relation of ours. There were many families of Greenans round about in that district. And he bought a quart of whiskey. The first time he tasted whiskey, he didn't like it. That's usually the way. Didn't like it at all. But he took it in obedience because it was medicine. And after a short time, of course, he got quite to like the whiskey. And he took it religiously, 3 times a day. And strange to say, after a couple of years, his weight had fallen away from 26 stone down to the weight which I knew him in afterlife, which would have been about I would think 16 stone or 18 stone, 16 to 18. He was his normal weight as I knew him. And then, when he came to 21 years of age, he told me he remembered very distinctly that he got to like this whiskey too much. So he went out to Greenan's public house, bar, and he filled the jar, the quart bottle of whiskey, paid us ½ a crown and went home. And he decided that when he finished this jar of whiskey, that it would be his last. And sure enough, when he finished it, he went outside with the jar and he broke it on a stone outside the door. And he said, "I'm off whiskey." So then he took the pledge, what we call the Pioneer Pledge, the pin, and he never again touched alcohol during his life until his old age. After he had retired, he was suffering from a heart disease. What do you call this heart disease? I forget the name, but I've got it written up there somewhere in my diary to recall. It was what,
you want me to get that?
Yes, you see that there, you see that one there? No, over there, that one. Yes, that one. Now, find all kinds of things there. Give it to me. Yeah, give it to me. And switch that off then onto ready. Now,